Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Game of Two Halves podcast. We are finally back after a little hiatus while the Euros were on.
Yeah, it's been a while.
We're preparing our new space, which if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it now.
Yeah.
You can see what it's looking like.
Full episodes are now on YouTube this season.
Why not? We're doing the content anyway. There's maybe some people out there that will enjoy it, so you can watch along as well as listening along if that's for you. If you're listening on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, we have just had our new intro playing.
Yeah.
And we are working on a YouTube one. Maybe it'll be on in time, maybe it won't. But trying to make everything come together for the new season.
Yeah. If it's not on this video, it'll probably be on the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
But we're ready. We're a bit more comfortable and relaxed in this space. And we just had to take a bit of time because the old space had to get taken down while we got ready for the new season. And to be fair, we pretty much got through the Euros, didn't we? We didn't cover the final. We got to the semi-final.
No, we did a bit of content through the Euros. Like I say, it was a bit like it was hard because towards the end everyone started playing a lot more frequently, and we were like struggling to keep up.
Yeah,
but
especially when we were trying to get everything ready. We had our charity event as well. We've not said anything on air since then. Kick Out the Stigma, which we hosted at Pro Football Arena. You may have seen some of the photos online. We'll have some video content coming out soon, and we did hit our goal of £1,000 raised. And it's still there. If you want to donate, we've hit the target. But by all means, the links are still on our associated platforms, and you can go and donate if you want to add to the cause.
Yeah, we got some good feedback on that. It was we're quite proud.
Yeah, I think first time we've ever done something in terms of reaching out into the community. I think the teams enjoyed it on the day. The level of football was actually pretty good. I thought the standard was pretty good.
Yeah, I think it was top.
Pro Football Arena were a fantastic help. I think they were absolutely great hosts. Couldn't do enough for us. And we even heard back from the charity as well.
Yes,
I'm looking to we can get a little certificate printed out with what we raised. I'm thinking we could maybe get it for the set.
Yeah.
Put it somewhere or something for us to keep.
Because I think that was one of the plans when we started this YouTube, this podcast, and all the stuff that's going to be coming this season as well. The original plan was to give back as much as we can.
Yeah, it's nice to build a bit of a community, isn't it? And I think doing events like that where you're all raising funds together for a goal that everybody's on board with. And, I think it went well. It was quite stressful, I think, for myself and you. Mainly probably because we were getting everything ready for this at the same time. But what can you do? The season was approaching and we needed to be ready.
We said it was hectic, but we said once we get in the rhythm, we'll be glad that we went through all that.
Yeah, it's been a busy summer. I think we covered the Euros for a good period of time. We were planning the event for a good period of time. We were trying to change the set, but we're back. And if you're listening, we're very grateful. And I hope you enjoy the content upcoming and are as excited for the next Premier League season, 24-25, as we now are. I think we're more than ready for it. And I'm very glad England got as far as they did, because I think we at least got a lot of football that we were invested in for a long period of time in that spell over summer. And if England would have gone out really early, that would have probably dragged on quite a bit. Like, obviously I'd have watched the games anyway, but you're not as invested.
Probably would have allowed us to do the set even quicker, wouldn't it?
Probably. So it's England's fault. And they didn't even go and win it. So what can you do?
I will say though, this season, obviously on Instagram, if you want to check out the Instagram, we have posted what you are going to expect from us this season, and even the podcast is changing. So last season, if you watched all our content, obviously it didn't get fully uploaded on YouTube, but the podcast is changing. We're coming at a different angle now, so it's not just going to be reviewing the football or just like that. We're coming like, I don't know, we're having a bit more fun.
I think there's a certain demographic of people, and we've had pretty good feedback for the most part, that enjoy the formality of it and that it is just a chat. But at the same time, we kind of want to branch out, make it a bit more entertaining. So we'll still have the review type content, but we might shorten that slightly like we've had in some pod styles in the past. But then we're going to move more on to doing a lot more content alongside it. You know, in the past, all that we had was the podcast, wasn't it? Like, and we split up the content into videos, and we will still do that to an extent. But the podcast is going to be potentially more of a standalone feature now.
Yeah.
And we're going to try and grow the channel out and grow our socials out so we can do more content. So hopefully you guys all enjoy that. And if you do enjoy the podcast, we're not going to be changing it that much that you won't like it anymore.
No,
I hope
no.
anyway.
We're still having, like you say, we're still having bits of what we had originally, but we're just spicing it up a bit.
Yeah, and it's even evident in like the set now. You can't actually see the full set on camera yet. We've even expanded this space to accommodate guests.
We've got some more things over here that you can't see.
We're gonna have some more camera angles. I feel like we're sat a little bit closer to people addressing them. Obviously, if you're listening, you can't see that, but maybe go check it out, and you can see. Give us some feedback on the set. But I feel like it feels a bit more homely. It's not as formal. We're a bit more relaxed in the environment, and I hope that then resonates when we bring people on. They feel like they can just chat. We can have a good laugh. But with that being said, we're going to touch on some transfer talk, and then we're going to make most of our predictions going into the new season as the Premier League kicks off on Friday.
Yeah, it is worth saying when we recorded this. So we are recording this Tuesday night. So if any transfers happens after that, then
pretty likely, isn't it? I think all of August the window's still open. So
yeah,
I mean, we'll be able to touch on them as and when in the upcoming episodes with us being back now properly.
Yeah, so when we actually film episode 2, there's probably a lot more transfers that have happened, and we might even touch on them at the start of episode 2. So if we've missed any out, sorry. We're not going to say any, all of them, but this is quite a lot, and I just thought we'd note quite a lot of honourable mentions down, what we think will make a difference this season.
Yeah, I think there's some big transfers, not necessarily huge fees or anything, but what in terms of bringing good quality to the league and improving team squads and such. So we'll get into them.
Yeah. So we'll just kick that off then. So from what I can see here, West Ham are just doing the most business,
I was going to say, I think, bar me potentially being biased, and I'll kick the ball early here with my United bias, as everybody knows if you're a frequent listener of the podcast. I think United have done some good business, but I do think so far in the window at the time of recording, West Ham have probably done the most good business on paper for me.
Yeah.
Because the amount of moves they've made at Lopetegui, I'm expecting to be a pretty decent managerial signing as well. And they've made some really shrewd signings that I think are going to improve their team quite drastically, really.
Yeah, so West Ham, just to sum it up, really, they've got Fulkrug, who I absolutely love. And if you follow the podcast, you probably know that. I rooted for him all the way through the Euros, didn't I? So
I think he had a good tournament, considering he struggled for minutes a little bit.
Yeah. So I think he will actually do quite well, I think, in the Prem. I think United should have gone for him, but hey, they've also got Kilman from Wolves.
Yeah, I think that's a shrewd signing. Adds some good depth. He's got Premier League experience. I think at times he was one of Wolves' most effective players. Just in terms of a good professional. I'm not saying he's an absolute worldly player, but a good addition to any squad, I think, at that level.
You've also got Somerville from Leeds.
From Leeds, yeah.
That surprised me a bit. I don't know why West Ham went for him, but I guess they'll show us why.
Yeah, Leeds scum. But interesting to see what he can add, really.
Yeah.
I don't know. As a player, I don't know as much about. I can't recall if he was actually there when Leeds were last in the Premier League or not.
I can't remember. I do remember, obviously seeing him play a couple of times, but I'm not sure where it was. So they've also got Wan-Bissaka and Todibo.
Yeah, Todibo, frustrating one because I think we were obviously interested.
And we got told that we couldn't get him.
Yeah, there was all these issues with
Ineos
being a link. So
Nice, sorry.
Nice, yeah, sorry. It is because of Ineos as well, isn't it? But
yeah,
I think it's a strange one. With it being a loan move, do you expect, is he going to be starting for them? But the quality that he's supposed to be having, I'm expecting him to be playing a lot of minutes for West Ham.
Yeah, I expect him to be starting.
So that'll be an interesting one. I think that could end up being a very good signing. Could be a frustrating one for us as United fans with the fact that the club were interested in him and we didn't manage to make that deal happen.
Just one on Wan-Bissaka, it is funny because I saw a clip, it's a United fan, he goes, I'm happy because obviously we brought De Ligt in, we brought Mazraoui in and all this stuff, but something doesn't sit right, and I think it's the fact that when we play West Ham, you just know Wan-Bissaka is pocketing Garnacho and Rashford.
It's so frustrating because he's a player that I like. I think he was a top professional at United. I have said on the pod even in the past that I had nothing against him moving away because I do think in the grand scheme of things he's not good enough.
So I've got Fulham here, we've got Smith Rowe, could be one to watch to be fair.
Was shocked and not shocked that Arsenal let him go because he's not been getting minutes since his injury.
I think he struggled with injuries, didn't he? So,
but he could be a very, very good signing in terms of I don't think it's cost them an awful lot, I worry a little bit with Fulham. I do rate the manager, but they've lost a couple of players. I still think they're nowhere near going to be touching relegation, in my opinion.
I said it last season. I think the only reason Fulham are never going to be in danger, really, I think it's because of that manager.
I do think they have a relatively solid squad as well. But yeah, I think it's massive credit to the manager, really.
I think if they get the striker injured, they're not really got much there.
I'm shocked on the sales that they've made that they haven't spent more.
Yeah.
Or not even that they have to spend the money, that they haven't brought more players in.
So we've got Crystal Palace. I've got Sarr and Kamada here.
Is Myla Sarr?
Yeah, it's the winger.
He used to play for Watford.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Kamada was at Frankfurt.
I think it's Frankfurt. That's where the manager was from.
Yeah. So, again, pretty good signings, especially for Palace. They look very strong anyway, I thought.
Back in the last season. New manager with a 5 at the back, normally you'd say like 5 at the back, he's going defensive, but it's like an attacking 5 at the back. It's quite good.
They lost Elise. They've managed to keep hold of Eze. I'd imagine he now takes penalties, because I think Elise did have some of the set pieces, didn't he, last season. Mateta was in good form last season. I think they just turned a corner as a team. They've kept hold of Joachim Anderson. I'm expecting them...
So far.
Yeah, I'm expecting them to be a force again, to be honest. I'm not completely sure, or maybe you'll find out later in this video, how far they can push it, and if they pick up where they left off. But they were fantastic at the back end of last season.
Yeah. So yeah, I've just got them two for that. Arsenal have obviously bought Calafiori in.
Know little to nothing about this guy.
So Arsenal obviously got that one. So
I think it's not enough for me.
Well, they've got Gabriel where he plays, so I thought they might bring him in for the left back.
For a team that have ran it really close 2 years on the trot, I think everybody would say, maybe it's very obvious to say, they still stink of needing an out-and-out striker for me. I thought that would have been their priority.
I thought they was going to go for Tony, me. But so quickly then, we've got Aston Villa, we've got Amadou Onana and Ross Barkley in.
Yeah,
I think Ross Barkley's quite good because we saw how good he was for Luton. But I think he's just going to be that squad player just to have a bit of spark.
It's a good signing based on how quality. I think he was easily Luton's standout player. Yeah. One of their fullbacks, I think, had quite a good season. I can't remember who it was now.
It's Downey.
I thought he was quite good. But on the whole, I think he was easily their best sort of touch of quality that they had on display.
Yeah.
Onana, a great signing. I think lots and lots of teams were interested in him. They're going to struggle, in my opinion, with the loss of Douglas Luiz. I thought he was fantastic last season.
He was, yeah. Fantastic.
Have they lost anybody else? They've managed to keep hold of Watkins, Diaby, yeah. Did they just have him for one season?
Yeah.
That's a bit mad, isn't it? Really?
Because I really like Diaby. I really like the look of him.
He started really well.
Yeah, it kind of annoyed me that he's gone already, but hey-ho.
Lost a few players of quality, maybe gained a few quality. It'd be difficult to see until we actually see them play.
Yeah. So Chelsea, they've got Drewsbury Hall and they've just got Pedro Neto in. I think they're two good signings, to be fair.
They've done a lot of business overall, though, haven't they? Even if it's like fringe players, and they've recalled Armando Broja from loan.
Yeah, they have.
But they're saying he needs to find a move, and they've said that about 2 other players as well. Trevor Chalobah, they want to make a move. They're reportedly making them train with the reserves or something until
and Lukaku.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's been very disrespectful to Chelsea, I think, ever since that initial interview. Yeah. I can't blame him for wanting to get rid of him, but it stinks. That club is in the dirt. It really is.
Yeah.
Like the way that they're publicly doing business and the way that they're treating players in the public eye is not a good look for the club.
Yeah, their own fans are a bit... they're not really liking what they see as well.
No, it's all stinking from Todd Bowley down, isn't it? Yeah. I think they're one of the few big clubs in the Premier League that I think are actually ran worse than United, and that was even when United, before Ineos had any involvement.
We're on to United. And quickly go through these. So we got Yoro. He's out for 3 months.
Disappointing. Fantastic signing long term, I think. Very disappointing that he's now, basically, we don't get to see him in action.
Yeah. We've got Xerxes. Don't really know much about him. I guess we'll see what happens with him.
Yep.
De Ligt and Mazraoui have put down because that is basically done. We're just waiting for the announcement from United.
Yeah. I was quite shocked at how long it took to get this deal done because it got announced that weeks ago personal terms have been agreed. which I know doesn't mean an awful
They
lot.
were waiting on Wan-Bissaka, weren't they?
Yeah, but how can you be only waiting on 15 million in to make that deal happen?
Well, they must have a bit, and then they wanted that extra bit.
I feel like you'd... Yeah, maybe the deal was somewhat specific with taking both players as well.
To be fair, getting both of them players in, obviously only time will tell if it's a good deal or not. But I mean, getting both of them players in, from my point of view, is quite cheap, and I think it's a good deal.
The money involved doesn't sound too bad. What's being reported for someone like, I think the difficulty is, and people are sort of mocking it a little bit, and I'm trying to not get carried away with my bias, but people are laughing at the fact like De Ligt was, everyone wanted him after that Ajax season, and the hype sort of died down.
Southampton, I'm not going to say much about them, but I've noticed that they got Lallana back in.
Yeah, I saw that today when I was having a quick read up. Good depth. Is there anything else to be said? Good professional with experience.
Yeah, I think that's the main bit, isn't it? Getting some experience in there.
Yeah.
So Spurs, they reloaned Werner. We spoke about that earlier.
Yeah.
They've managed to get a striker in, which we thought that they needed anyway. Solanke, I think that's a brilliant signing.
I think that's a very strong signing. After last season, with the way that their wingers can play, I think if they can put it on a plate for him, and he is the sort of striker as well, he doesn't need all that incredible service. He can make a goal.
Yeah.
But I think with Son and the likes of Kulusevski and
the attacking
Brennan
threat
Johnson,
that Postecoglou does with a high line, I think Solanke's going to do great.
and that with them also already having Werner in as well, someone else with pace, putting it on a plate for him, I think it suits their style of play, I think.
Yes. Another one with Spurs is Archie Gray. I'm not going to say that I know much about this guy, obviously from Leeds, but everyone is saying that he's going to be like the one to watch this season.
Yeah, again, not a player. It's because of my dislike for Leeds, maybe. Not a player I know an awful lot about. I think a bit of an FM wonder kid, potentially. Yeah. I have to wait and see on that one.
The thing is, like, I'm not calling anyone out, but the people that say like, oh, like he is gonna do good and everything, I don't even think they fucking watch the guy anyway. I think they're just guessing. But I'm not calling anyone out. I'm just saying, like, I've heard a lot about him, and I'm like, I doubt you watch that much of him.
Yeah, he's not someone I know the name, and I've heard people say good things, but I don't profess to know a lot about him, unfortunately.
Right, so just to finish off then for the transfers, I've just highlighted that Brentford have made the signing of Carvalho from Liverpool.
Yeah, very interesting one. I can only think that they need the funds to try and make some deals happen. To get rejected by Zubimendi. That deal seems to be definitely off at this point.
I think that's what it was for, though, to get the funds in, like you say.
But Liverpool to have made no transfers at all and lose a fair bit of depth this season. They've got to try and get something done, I would have thought. Yeah. I know Arne Slot will probably want to make his own assessment of the players, but I would have thought, despite the fact we all kind of jibe at pre-season being shit, that's what pre-season was for.
Yeah.
But he has had players coming back a little bit later and stuff, so I really don't know what to make of it. I feel like they need to have done more business. Well, any business. More business is any business for Liverpool.
Yeah. So that's the highlights of like the most valuable like transfers I think that's happened so far.
Yeah.
I think it covers most of them, to be fair. There might be a few that I've missed, but
yeah, I think there's been a few good ones there, haven't there? I think, let's say, West Ham notably doing some good business. I like United's approach. I think that was good. Chelsea always doing business as per usual. Somehow they keep spending the money.
Thing is, with that West Ham one, we've seen it in the past. Like, these clubs go on a spending spree, and then because they've made that many signings, it's hard for them all to gel.
Yeah, Forest did it, didn't they? They made like over 10 signings or whatever it was, and it just didn't quite work out. But Lopetegui, an experienced manager, they're bringing in players of Premier League quality, Premier League experience. Whether or not they can make it work off the rip, I'm not sure, but it looks very good on paper.
Yeah. Right, shall we go into our... Oh, it's Premier League table predictions then.
It is. Do you want to go through 20-1 each, or do you want to go one after the other all the way?
We'll just go all the way then. We'll just go my 20, your 20. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, I'll let you go.
I'm pretty sure that's what we did last season, so...
I'll let you go first.
Okay.
I'm
pretty sure like our relegation last season was the same, like similar.
Yeah,
just a few positions out, but...
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll let you go 20 all the way down to 1.
Okay, so I think last place is going to be Southampton.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Do you want me to do all three?
Go on, you read out your 3 teams to get relegated.
So I've got Southampton, Leicester, Notts Forest.
So I've gone Ipswich 20th, Forest 19th, Southampton 18th. So I've swapped Ipswich for Leicester for you. So we've got two teams the same. You've got Leicester going down. I've got Leicester in 17th, just staying up.
Right, okay. So I've got Ipswich just staying up.
Yeah, so we're not too far away there. I think that's quite reasonable.
Okay, so I've got Ipswich just staying up. You've got
Leicester just staying up.
Yep.
So
I've got 16th then.
16th.
I've got Wolves.
I have got Brighton in 16th.
Wow, big drop.
Yeah, I'm not convinced at all anymore. The manager's gone.
I think they're always a good team, though. They always manage to get
I do agree, and historically that's worked out, but there's something about it. I've been thinking it all, when I've done a few of these tables now and jigged the places around slightly, I've never had them higher than 15th in any of my predictions, which might be very naive of me because they've showed that they've got that bit of Premier League nous now, but I think that luck's going to run out and they're going to have... they'll still be in the Prem, but I think they're going to have a big drop-off this season.
Okay. So...
I've got Wolves 15th.
Okay, so I've got Fulham 15th.
Okay, but I won't tell you what I've got then because I've got them a few higher yet.
So 14th, I've gone Bournemouth.
I've gone Everton. I think that's still a drastic improvement on their past 2 or 3 league positions.
I think it's worth noting that I think they're going to have...
They should have finished a lot higher last year. It was the points deductions that really pushed them that amount down.
Well, I think they're starting the season with a point deduction again.
Are they?
Yeah. I've heard rumours that... they're getting another point deduction.
But I thought I've still got to put them as improving. I think they were an improved side last year. The points deductions didn't help their league place, as it obviously won't. They survived irrespective of that. But I still think they're going to be down there quite considerably. So I've got them in 14th.
Okay. So what are we on 13th now?
13, yeah.
I've got Everton.
I've got Bournemouth.
Okay.
So we're pretty close there. I was concerned to maybe put them lower with losing Solanke. There's a lot of goals that they had last year that they now don't have. That being said, when I was doing this list, I still fancied them in or around those spots where I don't think they're going to go down. I think they're better than the teams that I've put to go down.
Yeah.
But they're going to be in that sort of grey area for me between 10th and relegation where it doesn't make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things where you are in that list.
So where are we up to now? 12?
12th, yeah.
I've got Brentford there.
I've got Brentford 12th, yeah.
I think because they was quite low last season, and I think because if they managed to keep all them players fit, they've managed to keep Tony and Burmo. Obviously got Carvalho in.
Visser,
yeah. I think they'll have a good season if they stay free of injuries.
They really did struggle last year, but they didn't have Tony for the majority of the year. I still think Thomas Frank's a fantastic manager. So I'm putting a bit of weight on them to be more like the Brentford we saw a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, I think so. So next I have got Brighton.
Okay, so this is where the differences come in our list a bit because I've got them quite considerably lower. I've got Fulham here. I'm tipping them to still have... I'm a bit concerned about this placement because I rate the manager as do you, Silver. I think he's decent. They have lost João Palhinha.
Massive.
Who was arguably one of the best in his position in the league. You know, only the likes of, I'd say, like Rodri and Rice, and I put him below that bracket, but still very, very good in that position.
We thought Liverpool should have gone for him, didn't we?
Yeah, he gets his move to Bayern. Could be a fantastic addition for them, but I still think they're a strong outfit. That's one of my picks that I'm a bit concerned about because I can see a drop-off being feasible for them. Like, you've got them lower, I've got them higher.
Yeah.
Into the top 10 then.
Yeah. So I've got West Ham here.
I've got West Ham 10th as well, yeah. I think this top 10, I wouldn't argue with anyone.
I still think that's good for West Ham.
Where a lot of these go. Yeah, I think they've made fantastic signings. They could push on and do better than that. I do believe that.
Yeah.
But I still think 10th's a respectable finish. But I think if Lopetegui does hit the ground running, in terms of the way he sets this team up and the signings work out, they could have a really strong start.
Thing is, like, I love the signings. I think they've done great business. I'm just not keen on that manager.
Yeah, it's one I just think with the experience, Moyes was not great in the latter years. I know they got that European trophy and people remember it fondly, but I think arguably that domestic season was so poor that he should have probably, we said it in the past, that there could have been a case where he shook hands with him and moved on and didn't even give him last season. I think they only did that out of respect to the fact European trophy and a bit of legacy for that football club was very harsh to get rid of a manager after that kind of achievement.
Yeah.
The league form was very poor the year before last.
Yes,
so.
yeah. So this is obviously 9th place now, isn't it? So
Place.
I have put Palace to get 9th.
I've put Palace 9th as well. I think they could better this.
If they lose Mark Gahey, this could change.
It's very difficult to... They were that fantastic at the back end of last season. I would say at that point, anything's possible. They looked like they could beat most of the teams in the league that were playing.
Yeah.
But, like you say, they've got one of their big players potentially going for a move elsewhere to a club that probably could be competing in and around that space of the table. And then can they replicate that form? Can the players come back as good as they were? I think the manager looks absolutely fantastic, so I'm not really concerned that he'll have a big drop-off. I think he clearly knows what he's doing from what he demonstrated last season. Kind of wanted to put him higher, but I've not done it.
Yeah, I wanted to put him higher because I'm with you. I like the manager.
Yeah.
Next, I have got Villa.
I have got Chelsea in 8th.
Okay, so
I kind of wanted to put them even lower than Palace. I think they're down for another mid-table finish. I'm not convinced.
The thing is, right, I've got Villa there because obviously they got Champions League. I think they might have a drop-off, but because I don't think they've got the squad for it.
I may as well say I've got Villa 7th. I've got them beating out Chelsea slightly.
So I've got Chelsea 7th.
Yeah, so I thought you might do. Yeah. So it's just for me, I was very impressed with Villa last season. I know, like you say, Champions League can make a big difference. Villa are a team to me. They've maintained. I know they've lost Douglas Luiz and Diaby, but they've maintained a lot of the core players in that group. They've got a fantastic manager who's experienced in going the distance in multiple competitions. And Chelsea was such a mess last season. I know maybe I'm not giving this Maresca enough credit, but I don't know anything about him really.
I saw that,
and I don't think it matters. I think it's a poison chalice. I don't think it matters who comes in.
I saw that overlap, with the fans and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were saying the Leicester fan said we're actually glad that they took Maresca off us because they said that he was so set in his ways he couldn't really adapt to different scenarios. And they said that if they kept Maresca, they feel like they would have just gone straight back down because it was kind of like another company moment.
Oh yeah, you're very grateful that you've come up and you've won, but you're a bit concerned about.
Yeah, because company didn't really adapt to you. We just wanted to play the same way.
Yeah, I've got a lot of time for that, but it didn't work, did it? Yeah. At the end of the day, but
like I say, it's a huge statement from Leicester fans saying that. They might be a bit bitter, but
I'll say no disrespect to me from me to. I don't care about Chelsea, but to that manager, maybe I'm not giving him any credit. But in my view, the way that club does business, I cannot see, even with the likes of Cole Palmer having the repeatable season from last year, he might do. I still don't see that team doing much better than where they finished last year.
The thing is, Chelsea are becoming a team that everyone dislikes just because of the way it's being run.
Yeah, the amount of players that are in, they're throwing players out the club. Like someone like Conor Gallagher, who had a fantastic season for them last year, come through the academy, gets pushed out the door for the sake of the money. Obviously, it looks good for the Bucks because he's come through the academy. Reece James is injured again. I mean, this guy is a myth at this point.
He's not even allowed to play till September anyway.
Oh, because
he had a suspension.
Yeah. But yeah, he's injured again. And it's like, I'm looking at that team like it's thrown together, and I just don't see the manager being able to get a grip of that. And if he does, fair play to him. But at the moment, I think Chelsea are doomed for a pretty mid-finish again.
Yeah, so we're around the same with that. Here's the juiciness then. Top 6.
Top 6. Spoiler, that means United are in the top 6.
I don't think you doubted it with you, did we? But 6th place, I have got Newcastle.
Same. Yeah. I don't know where to put them because I think they had an underwhelming season last year based on how
Injuries.
Good they looked at times. Like, they look like a very hard team to beat. But yeah, they had lots of injuries. Signed Tonali and he couldn't play all season. I think they're a lot better than what their performances and league table position showed last year. I mean, obviously, we know that from them qualifying for Champions League the year before.
I think Eddie Howe's doing a fantastic job there.
I think he's a good manager. I think they are a club as well when the fans get rocking. I I mean, I don't like them by any means, but I'll give them their due. I think when that stadium's rocking and they're playing at home, I think they're a tough team to beat at home. So I just think sixth is sort of a bit safe. They could do better than that.
If they keep Gordon, even if they get Gahey in, that could be a game changer.
Yeah,
as well.
it adds a lot of depth, doesn't it? So,
Yeah.
And if Tonali is allowed to play, which people seem to be saying he is, I'm not sure if that's true.
He did look a good player for the 3 games he played.
And it's, they've kept Bruno G this far. I thought he was definitely going to be moving on.
He obviously weren't worth 100 mil when they said it.
Yeah, maybe. I was shocked.
He had a release clause, didn't he?
That's the sort of money I could have seen City being like, go get him.
Yeah.
I did wonder about it. But
I mean, he would have been great to play in like when Rodri's out, wouldn't he?
I think in City's system, I think he works a treat. I think he's sort of a manager's dream sort of player because he's got a good attitude in terms of work ethic. But
there's always that threat of him getting sent off.
Yeah, he is a bit of a nutter, but sixth, I think, is respectable. Maybe Newcastle fans would disagree. I don't know, but I think that's fair.
Okay, so I'm going to upset people here. I've got fifth. I generally believe this as well. I've got fifth, Liverpool.
I have also got Liverpool fifth.
Whee!
And you should be grateful because I had you in 8th or 7th when I did this the first time.
Wow.
Because I was just like, they've brought this guy in, they've signed nobody.
And they keep going slot ball.
They've got some players like the wrong side of 30, and that doesn't mean they can't compete. But in my head, I was like, they're going to be shit. And then I am like, you know what? It is Liverpool. They were still a good team this year. So I've kind of gone in between my gut feelings. Is one of them is like, they'll just carry on. That's my worst sort of feeling as a United fan, is that they'll pick up with this new manager and have a strong season. And then part of me is like, I've seen United do this before with a terrible season with new managers coming in. And I've tried to just go somewhere down the middle.
Yeah.
So missing out on Champions League. Obviously, they're in Champions League as well. Got them missing out on Champions League, but not quite as disrespectful as my first prediction.
To be fair, we say missing out on Champions League. They still could get it with that new way
Yeah, they could, suppose,
I just think, I'm not doing this to be like a dick to them or anything.
Bantering them.
Yeah, but I genuinely think like, we obviously saw it with Alex Ferguson. I mean, it's not the same, but you don't realise you do realise how good Klopp was, but you think that you're going to challenge for the league with this new manager. I just don't see it.
I think it would be an absolutely incredible achievement and a real fantastic if the manager manages to run a title charge in his first season at Liverpool, when we've seen what a rebuild looks like with a fantastic manager like Jurgen Klopp, then it'd be an unbelievable first season. I can't personally see it, but I don't think it's not impossible, but I can't see it personally at this point.
We'll give him his praise, but I mean, come on, it's a bit far-fetched, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so it's top 4 now.
Top 4, yeah.
Get your phone
Let me get my phone out.
Yeah, so I never know with you, actually. So, fourth place, I have got Spurs.
I've got Spurs, yeah.
I think they'll just make it. I think Postecoglou had a good tester of a season last season. Got a few injuries towards the end. If they can keep Maddison fit this season, I think they'll do well.
Yeah, they missed him for a big portion. Van der Ven was out for a while. Obviously, they've added Solanke, they've added Werner again. So I'm expecting them to be pretty much as good as they were last year. I was impressed with them for the most part of last year, especially for the manager coming in his first year.
There's a shout that you've got your torch on.
Oh,
you shined it in my face.
Sorry, mate.
I think they've got a shout that they've got the best fullbacks in the league.
Well, they've lost Emerson Royale now.
I know.
He was terrible anyway. Sorry, Emerson Royale, if you're listening. Of course he is.
Who's Spurs' backup right back? Because I thought he was the backup right back.
They've got Pedro Porro, haven't they? And he's your man.
Yeah.
I don't know off the top of my head.
That's what I mean. I think they might do another signing because I think they've got rid of their backup.
Maybe they've got someone in the youth set up that they're ready to bleed into the squad. I'm not completely sure. Smythe might know. We'll have to ask him. Our Spurs contact on the inside.
Right, third place, Man United.
Arsenal.
I actually thought you was going to be all right this predictions, but
I can't help it. I've got to be excited. I tried my best.
Right, so this is different then from me and you.
Yes. I've got Arsenal third. I think, again, this is just me. This is me picking who I think and what I can see. Arsenal could win it. I think, City have done 4 in a row. No one had done that before, so no one's done 5 in a row. Arsenal have been close twice, ran it close twice, been very good. I'm just being biased towards my club here. I'm not even going to try and justify it. That's just the facts. I'm being biased.
Yeah, I've got United third. I think they'll do another season. They got third first season of Ten Hag's tenure, so
I think we have to get top 4.
Yeah, I think it is.
For this season to be a success, United have to get top 4 for me.
Yeah, and I think with the additions we've made, I think it makes sense to get top 4.
Yeah, and historically, I know these things are a bit silly, but when you've had United, certainly post Sir Alex as well, tend to have a relatively good season, like a second place and a trophy or whatever, and then this next season tends to be pretty terrible.
Yeah.
But we've not had too many where it's been really poor like in the league, we were pretty horrible last season. It was horrible at times. And I'm expecting to see a large improvement on that.
Oh, yeah, it's got to.
The signings have got to come in. Let's hope that they can stay fit. It's typical that obviously the likes of Euros are already injured. It's like United are just cursed in that department.
Yeah.
It's a bit laughable at this point. We bring players in and they're just out.
It will be bad if De Ligt comes in and he gets injured as well. And we
I'm
start
hoping,
with Evans again.
Onana started poorly in the Champions League. I thought he found his feet on all fronts
Towards
as the
the
season
end.
got towards the end. Martinez is back. Let's hope he can stay fit. Obviously, Luke Shaw's out, but I think we're bloody used to that by now.
If we're all right with injuries, I generally think that team should be in top 4 without any issues.
Yeah, certainly in terms of the calibre of players that we've got.
Yeah.
We've got some good depth if
not
we
a bad
can
team.
maintain fitness.
It's not a bad team.
You got Mason Mount. That could be like a new signing. We didn't even really see him play other than the first 10 games, and some of those he was getting cameos and not playing the full matches.
To be fair, going back to Chelsea, I think Nkunku's going to be like a new signing for them.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we didn't even obviously didn't mention him because he signed last year.
Yeah.
But he was just a forgotten man, really. Unless obviously Chelsea fans would have been excited to have him back. But
I've heard he's been playing well over pre-season as well. So.
Yeah, I think he'll be a good addition. You're right. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll tell you my top 2 and you tell me yours, even though I know your top 2. I've got City, Arsenal.
Do you have Arsenal to win?
I've got Arsenal to win this season.
I can see it. Again, like I said, I've put them in third, but I can see Arsenal winning the league. We're so close 2 years on the trot now. They've clearly got something about them.
You made that joke, didn't you? Saying
the bottle it again.
Yeah, but you can't.
It's just banter.
Yeah, no, but you can't not win the third time in a row.
But then you look, they've not heavily invested when they've had a good squad and a good run. For me, when you want to compete, it's looked like you have to keep adding to your squad.
City haven't though.
No, maybe you're right, but they have won
one
4 in a row.
Yeah.
And they've lost Alvarez, made a bag of money on him. They've signed Savinho from...
They might bring someone in now.
They could do. They've brought some money. They've got money to the table. The likes of Phillips is still there. I thought he'd have definitely been getting a move, but then he didn't really impress on his loan move.
Go on, what's yours?
I'm doubling down. The Reds are having it. City second.
Keep jinxing
United first. I can't bring myself to pick anything else.
Is it? So De Ligt's come in. Every time he joins a team, he wins the league with them in the first season. The losers of the Community Shield always win the Premier League next season. So I can see where you're coming from.
You see, I saw a stat online as well. It said every time GTA's released, United have won the league. That is as concrete as evidence as you need. I'm all in on that. Listen, I'm privy to the fact we've been crap for 10 plus years now, but people sort of go on like Arsenal were building for years. I touch on this all the time now. It's absolute rubbish. Arsenal turned into a good team like that. They were title challengers from nothing. There was no progress in Arteta's tenure for me. They were shit title challengers. It can happen. I'm not saying it will, but they didn't improve at all.
Now you say it, you always saw what Arteta
you could see
wanted
his
to
vision.
do.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't that he was clueless and had no idea. I think the guy was trying to build something, but you can't tell me from the performances in the league finishes and their lack of trophies that it looked like they were making progress, because it didn't.
Yeah, won it 2 seasons out of top 4. Then they got.
It was shocking. I'm pretty sure they finished outside the top 6. I'm pretty sure on numerous occasions. So maybe I'm not bang on the money there, but
so I've got Arsenal's finishes here under Arteta. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but this is what it's saying. They finished 8th, 5th, then second.
That to me, you can say.
So they didn't even get top four before second and second.
You can say eighth to fifth. Fifth is then progress. Fifth isn't where Arsenal want to be. They're a team that all similar to United. They want to be challenging for the Premier League on a regular basis.
Actually, do you know what? You're actually right. Look at this, right? So the season where they finished fifth before they got second was 69 points, right? That next season, 84 points.
It was a massive
That's
difference.
massive, isn't it?
But it was the addition of Saliba coming in. He was injured for quite a lot of that season.
Well, weren't he alone? They already had him.
They already had him out.
Yeah.
Him coming in and forming a partnership with Gabriel, and there was a good feeling about it when they started so well. There was a good feeling, and I know they then lost Saliba, and everyone was sort of saying if they had him, maybe they would have won it. And then they had him all last year, and they didn't win it.
Yeah.
And City are a fantastic team, and no one can really compete with them. It's why Arsenal haven't done it.
I think the difference is when City see it out, and Arsenal probably do a bit of a hiccup.
You'd think when they've had that run, though, they can run for games and games and games without losing. The last year, Arsenal were fantastic. And then you think they just have that little edge. And it makes it sound like me saying it's easy when I know it's clearly very, very difficult.
It's easy, just win the league. It's so easy.
But I'd also like to make this decision to put United first in my list, just to banter Arsenal. You had 2 trots at it, fucked it up, we've come back and we've done it.
Yeah, maybe.
But we haven't won one in over 10 years.
Maybe we go from 8th to 2nd.
It's doable. That's what I think is. Yes, you can give Arteta credit for making the right decisions, making good decisions. I always touted him as being a shit manager. I'll give him his due now.
Do you know what? I actually really like this story. Have you heard about the pickpocketing stuff?
Oh, it's shit.
I loved it.
What a bum. I hate that. He's not.
Always be aware you're going to get your wallet robbed.
If I've just gone from giving him praise for the first time ever to going back to him, calling him a bum.
I liked it.
I can't get on board with something like that when this guy won fuck all. Do you know if that's something that came out about Guardiola, as much as I don't like him, I'd be like, fair play. Teaching you a lesson, he's a winner.
He doesn't
be aware.
Guardiola doesn't need to do that because they win all the time.
No, but what I mean is Arteta's he's I've had it nicked from me twice now. But he's not a winner. He can't instill that mentality and act like he's. Maybe I'm being harsh, but
I think you are.
But no,
he does it multiple times a week. If you get your wallet stolen twice, you don't play in the weekend. That's what his new thing is. I thought it was good.
It's an entertaining story. I'll give you that.
Right. That's the tables. United are winning the league. Just like last year for you.
Yeah. Well, it didn't go very well last year, and if it goes worse than last year, then fucking I'll give up.
If you do another prediction after that, you definitely shouldn't put them first.
You would last year after 5 or 6 games. I was saying how bad we were. I think.
It was.
I want to be deluded. It's best part of being a football fan is going into the season with some sort of belief that we can do.
To be fair, Ten Hag he started both seasons poorly, hasn't he?
Yeah, and I do think I've always put part of that down to the fact our signings come in so late. And it stinks a bit that De Ligt and Mazraoui are coming in as late as they are. But in the past, we've brought signings in 4 or 5 games into the season.
Yeah. There is rumours that City, they said 2025, so it could be any time next year, that these cases come.
I've been seeing a bit. I think it's just to drum up some interest that
they win the league and then they get a point deduction and lose it.
I think there is a chance this will be the last you see of Guardiola this season.
Oh yeah,
at City, not of Guardiola.
Yeah,
at City.
Said it last season. I think this is last season he has.
Especially with them being linked with these charges coming, even if it's bollocks. But with that being rearing its head all the time, I don't think you want to be a part of that when it comes to it.
I mean, if you sign for City, you need to put in your contract, if we get sent down, I'm allowed to go for such and such.
Yeah, might be a smart move, but I don't know. Part of me just thinks they'll get away with it to an extent. They'll obviously be punished. I can't see a world where they get away with 115 charges.
Award time. So it's award predictions now.
Let's run it.
What are we starting with?
I've got top scorer first.
Okay, so boring. Haaland.
Boring, just like your league table predictions. Mo Salah. Going on, changing it a little bit. I know that you could say that's boring.
What you say? My table predictions are boring. I had Arsenal winning.
Yeah, it's boring.
That's
title challenger for 2 years.
Oh my god!
You can't bring yourself to put City to win 5 in a row, and you can't bring yourself to put your balls on the line for United. So pick the other title contender.
Fine, I'll put...
Where's Villa? Where's Chelsea? Pick someone else.
Fine, Spurs are winning. No. Yeah, I've got Haaland.
Well, that's just been a bit silly, though.
I've got Haaland. I can't see anything from it. But you've got 5th place Salah winning the Golden Boot.
Yeah, it's easily doable. Palmer ran him close last year, and they finished mid-table. So
yeah.
I'm going with Salah. I think, again, this could be a final hurrah for him. He's obviously on penalties. I just always fancy... He's definitely a contender for Golden Boot anyway. Like, he's going to be up there. But I just didn't want to put Haaland.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a few of Liverpool's pre-season games as well. I know you don't go off it much, but where they have had success, they do they like to play it out. But when they can't, they do some long balls, and Salah's always getting on to him and exploiting it. So I think Salah will do good this season.
I think he had a good season last year. People try and downplay it
because he was out a while.
His numbers were still good. He was out for a little bit, and you've got to look at the fact that if people are saying that as a relatively off season for him, then if he comes back playing to the best of his ability again and he's available, then he could be putting those numbers up again. Can Haaland stay fit all year? Doesn't have the competition from Alvarez anymore, so maybe there's the argument that he'll have to play more, but then that's probably more of a chance to get injured.
Yeah, possibly.
So I've just picked Salah just to be slightly different. I know he's still a favourite. Okay. He's not as much of a favourite as Haaland.
No. Yeah, I've gone bottom on that one. I just can't see anything other than Haaland.
No, I can see it. I can see where you're coming from.
Top assister.
I've gone for Martin Ødegaard.
Nah.
Because I think De Bruyne will miss half the season like he does every year. That guy, career at the top level, I think is over. I think he's fantastic.
The thing
but
is,
I don't think you'll see him play all season.
The thing is with Ødegaard, he's a fantastic player. Like, love him. I won't say love him, but...
You just did.
He's a good player and everything, but he's not that one that makes that final pass. He's normally the one that plays one before the final pass.
I think he was a bit unfortunate last year in that regard, because watching a lot of Arsenal, there were some times where this guy's deserving of the assist and he's playing them balls and it just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
I think if we see Jesus play more than Havertz, there might be a case for more assists. This was one of the most difficult ones to pick for me, because you want to go De Bruyne or put him up near towards the top of the numbers. I can't see him playing that much football. Every single season, this guy seems to pick up a long-term injury.
Yeah.
And I know he still gets great numbers in that time. I can't quite see Bruno, maybe.
Do you want to know who I've gone? Palmer.
Have you actually? He did put good numbers up last year.
Yeah.
I just think that Chelsea team's going to be a car crash. He doesn't mean he can't get the numbers, but if he's going to get the numbers, I think it's more likely to be goals.
Yeah, the reason why I've put Palmer is because he's the standout performer in Chelsea's squad, and because if he is that one-man team again this season, he's going to be the guy with the most stats, isn't he?
Yeah.
So that's why I've put him.
But yeah, I think Ødegaard again, it's sort of my... If you were pulling a list of names together, I think he gets in the list.
Yeah.
And I just kind of think he's techie. I still don't think we've seen the best of him.
Mm.
I think he's been unbelievable and he's a joy to watch in terms of how technically gifted he is, how he finds pockets of space. He's the captain.
I think I went Trent last year and he got injured straight away, so I'm not going Trent again.
I went Bruno. I think you might have gone Bruno as well.
No, I swear I had Trent.
Oh, did you?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good shout, in fairness.
I know, I should have done it to jinx it.
How can, the Liverpool perform to that level?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Trent's a shout, to be fair.
Right, Golden Glove, I was struggling just before we aired on this, so I've decided, because I've gone with me winners of the Premier League. If they are to win the Premier League, they're going to have that good record defensively again, so I've gone Raya.
Gut was telling me Arsenal, because I agree. I think they were great, hard to beat last year. They could see results out for the most part. Doubling down on my league predictions, first place Manchester United. I'm going Andre Onana. Same as last year.
Do you know what? I had Onana in. I know we both went Onana last year as well.
Yeah, and it was a bit of a terrible start. Not in the league, but as a keeper, he looked very shaky last year at the start.
The only reason I said Onana last year and I had him originally on this list is because we had most clean sheets in the first year of Ten Hag, and I think this season's going to be like the first year of Ten Hag.
I'm hoping, we've got to be more resolute. And to be honest, we even clawed some back last year. It was one of those years for United where
we were still up there,
the
weren't
games we won, we did completely shut the teams out for the most part. So we had a fair amount of clean sheets because no team really ran away with it last year. Arsenal, by the end, it was relatively comfortable. But I think Newcastle ran them close for clean sheets last year, and they had loads of injuries.
Yeah. Newcastle do get good clean sheets.
Because again, it's such a tough team to beat at home. I think they just managed to shut up shop really well.
I think it might be a shout for Pickford again this season because obviously Sean Dyche is a kind of defensive manager in a way. So, yeah.
They always get themselves up there. I think with a Dyche team will manage to keep clean sheets. It's just fact.
Who've you got player of the year then?
Bit boring. I've gone with Mo Salah with him being my top scorer. I'm sort of tipping him just to be the runaway player, even though I've got Liverpool finishing pretty shit.
Yeah, so I was telling you before when I was like, originally I was like, do I go with my top goal scorer? Because it's usually, if it's ridiculous numbers, it's usually the case. But I've decided to go with Declan Rice. Yeah. It was out of him and Saliba. But I think Declan Rice gets more winning goals.
I think you're probably right with regards to the fact he'll probably end up being somebody that wins the title. It'll be a player from that team, and if you've got Arsenal, then it makes sense.
I think Rice is capable of like 90th minute winners and stuff, and if they are to win the league,
big tackles and stuff,
that doesn't go unnoticed.
For me, I've gone with a different justification, and on the basis that if you don't win the league, you can't get it, then this is never going to happen. But I'm sort of thinking, with the absence of Alvarez now, and Haaland being the out-and-out striker and the football that they're going to have to get through.
Who did you say?
Salah.
Okay.
So I think Haaland will have a spell on the sidelines this year. We've not really seen it for a long period of time.
The thing is, City capable of playing a false nine, though, aren't they?
But I think what I'm saying is, I think if I know he can put up the numbers anyway, so this is a really far-fetched one, but run with me on it. If he's not available for a bulk of the season, he won't have that opportunity. And the next biggest star player in terms of numbers in the Premier League is Mo Salah.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
So I've sort of just gone on a whim there. Top scorer, I think he's obviously capable of getting relatively good assist numbers as well. But it is a bit of a daft prediction on the basis that I've got them to finish pretty poorly. But if he has a great standout season, it's still feasible. Like you say with Palmer last year, he would have still been in the running. Obviously, I should have got the Young Player of the Year, surely, but I don't really know won that in the end. He did, didn't he?
Well, funny you say that. Young Player of the Year. Who have you got?
Kobbie Mainoo.
Have you?
I think he was that good last season in the games that he played.
You see a full season of him.
Full season of him when we win the league, he gets Young Player of the Year. Because he's not going to win Player of the Year if he wins Young Player of the Year. So there's my bias again.
This is tough because I've got two players here and I'm trying to pick one.
I was tempted to go even with my bias again and go Garnacho. I think he's come on leaps and bounds. We tipped him to have that breakout season last year. I think he really did have that breakout season last year. But there's a lot of good ones.
I'm going to go with it. Ahmad.
Oh my goodness. I like it, but
does he qualify? He qualifies, doesn't he?
To be honest with you, I'm not sure how...
Wait, what did you say it was? Was it 22? 21?
I think it's 21 or 22. It might even be a bit daft because it wasn't Haaland in the running for it one of the years he joined.
I think he was. Well, Ahmad's 22. Does he not qualify?
Not sure if it's 21 and under.
Okay, so I might change it then with my other one.
We should have looked what that was. I forgot. We checked last year, but I can't remember what it was.
Oh, even this one's a bit... Because he turns 22 halfway through the season. I had Harvey Elliott as my other one.
Yeah, he's a weird one because I do actually rate him. It's hard to look past the likes of Palmer, isn't it? Surely he still qualifies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going with Kobbie Mainoo. I've gone for United to win the league. We've got to win some of these accolades if I do that. Even though my player of the year is Mo Salah, but I think there's a bit of a romance in my head about that where I think it's going to be his last season.
Right, so I'm going to have to change mine. Got it wrong. Apologies.
What's the age?
You have to be 21 or under.
Okay. So you're going for?
So both of them are out of the picture.
Oh, both.
Considering I've got Considering I've got Palmer as top assist, I'll probably go him.
Yeah, I think he is the front runner for that award personally because of how good his numbers were last season, and not just his numbers, his performance. If you know people that watched Chelsea last year, he was their standout man. Can you not have him?
I can't have Palmer either. He's 22.
Is he actually? You go with Kobe Mainu. Believe.
I'm gonna have to. Huh?
To be fair, that I think if surely Elliot's older than Palmer.
No, well, maybe Elliot's 21.
Oh, is he?
He turns 22 in a season. Well, that was an absolute shocker. I'm going to have to agree with Levi and go Mainu.
Hey, that's what you wanted to do anyway. He's your favourite youngster in the Prem.
Hey, tell you what, I know it sounds weird, but I was looking back at our stuff and I watched the video we put out when we did our first, watch. Well, it wasn't a watch along because we didn't go live, but we watched the United game on while recording. And
when Garnacho scored.
Yeah, and it was Mainu's first game in.
Yeah.
Obviously, we saw him in pre-season. We raved about him, but
And he got that injury, didn't he, last year?
yeah, so it was his first game back, and all the way through the video, it was just me going, "Oh, he's so good, isn't he?" And he was like, "Calm down, lad."
Even until, I think he got a bit of flack for the final and at the Euro final. I don't think he got a lot of flack because he's a young lad, so people were like, but all tournament for England, he looked fantastic.
So that was an absolute shocker from me. That
it's all right.
but we've ended up on the same person, so player. Flop. I struggled with this one, but
Is this we went team in the end?
no, I went a player.
Oh,
I couldn't bring myself to a team.
Okay. I have got a player. I did think of one in the end. Just didn't write it down.
Well, you can still go to your team. It don't matter.
Team, I went Chelsea. Maybe.
Is it classed as a
harsh.
flop?
Exactly, because they've had a pretty poor season last year. But considering new manager, money spent again, I just think for the stature of the club that they now are, they've won the Premier League in the past. They've won 2 European Cups. I just think they're going down for another mid-table finish, and I won't be surprised if they have a managerial change before Christmas.
Yeah,
because that's the sort of reputation they've built over the last few years.
It's funny you say that because we've got a first manager to be sacked as well. I've gone Calafiori for Arsenal.
Yeah, I don't know. Again,
signing him off the back of the Euros. Let's be honest, you didn't watch him in Bologna.
I don't. Yeah, it's true, but I don't think he's coming in with big expectation or a big fee. My flop, I'll keep the Chelsea theme. Pedro Neto, good player. I think he had a great season last year. That Chelsea team's full of players all over the place.
You know what, I did look at Neto, but do you know
big
what?
Fee.
He just every time I watch him, he does simple stuff. He doesn't do all this Anthony stuff, dribbling in and out. He just does it really well.
I think you're overthinking it though. He's going into Chelsea. It's a mess.
Yeah.
I know Palmer stood out, but I think that I'm not expecting the Pedro Neto to do it. I don't see him as a talent the way Palmer is. And I think for the money spent, we're not going to see much of an impact. And that's maybe me being harsh because I do like the player, but I'm not expecting to be impressed by them. And I think the fee. There's not been too many players coming with very large fees. I think he's one of them.
I think Neto will have a lot of assists this season.
I think it'd just be bog standard, honestly.
Even though I've got Palmer as top assister.
I'm expecting pretty poor numbers from him.
Fair enough.
But because I think there'll be a lot of rotation too. I know they spent that money on him, so you'd think he'll start all the time, but I'm not convinced.
Yeah. Well, Calafiori, I'm only putting him. I did struggle on this, to be fair, Arsenal fans. Don't shoot me.
I think it's easy to pick United players, I think, because historically, recent history.
I mean, you could say Xerxes, but when Højlund's back, I think Højlund still is the starter.
I think he's depth. Yeah. The obvious one would be to say De Ligt. There's a reasonable fee. It's not a terrible fee, but it's a reasonable fee. He's a big name. It's another person who's going to get the weight of resolving this United defence thrown on him.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be a lot of people's picks. But I'm being hopeful. I'm being blindly biased and I'm ignoring it.
Okay, let's brighten the mood up and go most improved then.
Manchester United. Has to be if I'm having them as first.
Are you gone a team? I've gone a player.
Oh, I've not gone for a player, no. I can try and think of one while you go on yours. But yeah, I went most improved United. If I've got them to finish first from an 8th place finish or 7th, wherever it was, it's got to be up there.
Yeah, so I made this list before Community Shield, and I had a United player as well because, like you say, it's not just because United fans. It's literally if we've got them to finish from 8th to top 4, surely one of these players have got to be in it, and I've got Rashford, and now I kind of regret after seeing the Community Shield.
It's a tough one because, yes, it's the most improved on last year, but we've seen what this guy can do. So if he does turn it on, would you be surprised?
Well, it's normally
still most improved. It's not a surprise, but
bad season, good season, bad season, good season, isn't it? But
so I can see that. But he is a player we've seen it from before. The top level performances.
But you go off last season, and it would be an improvement if he gets over 10 goals or something. So
yeah, I think realistically, I think he needs to have another relatively spellbinding season because I think United will look to cash in on a player like that, despite the fact he'll want to stay. If he doesn't perform to the best of his ability, they're going to be looking at offers for him. And I would like him to succeed and stay.
Yeah,
I would still like Rashford. The media can't. I didn't like watching him walk around Old Trafford looking like he wasn't really putting that much effort in, but they can't make me dislike him.
Yeah. Well, I've got him as most improved. I think he'll improve on last season, but we can only wait and see. First manager to be sacked. We've just gone positive, and now we've gone back down.
Yeah.
What do you reckon?
I'm going for. I think he did turn it around at times last season. I'm going for Nuno Espirito Santo at Forest.
True. Yeah.
I struggle with this one. I think there's a case you could say if Brentford don't do well again, we've both said we think they'll improve and be more like the Brentford we know.
Yeah.
But if they are down there struggling, Frank could be out the door. But Nuno, we've seen him get sacked at Spurs before quite early on. I'd say Spurs, they're not the most well-run club. Forest, I think, have a relatively difficult start. Maybe I'm misinterpreting that from before, but I've not got much faith in them.
I've gone Lopetegui.
Really? After what you think, because of all the signings?
I
can't see West Ham making a rash decision like that.
Well, it's funny because I had Moyes last season. That's another West Ham.
Last season,
it's like I've got a vendetta against West Ham, but I just don't rate the manager. I've seen him before. Obviously, he's coming. I think he came in at Wolves, and obviously Wolves is a bit of a stake compared to West Ham. So maybe I am wrong. I just thought I don't rate him that highly, the manager. So
the business they've done is fantastic. So if it doesn't work out, I can't say that the manager gets the credit for that. I don't know how it's run at West Ham, but
the thing is, I've still got them finishing quite high up.
Yeah,
but I think that's due to the second half of the season when they get a new manager in.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think they'll be okay, but
it's a
reasonable shout.
It's a brave shout because, like I say, they've made good signings. Surprise package.
West Ham. I think we said how boring they were last year. We didn't enjoy watching them really. I just think maybe it's not a surprise because you look at the business they've done. Can you say it's a surprise package if they've made good business like that and then start well with a new manager, new start? But my gut feeling is that it still would be a shock to the system if they performed as well as we've predicted them to, or even better than that potentially.
I've gone full crook.
Oh, you've gone player?
Yeah. Do you want me to say a team? I can say a team.
You can. I was torn between Palace, by the way, but I don't know if that's an overachiever in the same sense.
Well, my surprise package is full crook, just because I think I'm the only one that rates this guy.
Well, if maybe not, because my special one to watch, I've gone for him.
Right. Because, I'll say if it was a team, it would have been Spurs, maybe. So
I think with the players that they've got, I think he is a perfect striker for West Ham. Fulkrug. I think it's a really, really great fit.
Okay, so if you're saying your special mention, then I'll say mine.
Yeah.
If you say special mention Fulkrug, hats off to you, mate. I didn't think you'd rate him as well as I did.
Yeah.
My special mention as a one to watch is Hutchinson for Ipswich.
This is where's he from? Chelsea, did you say?
Yeah.
Again, don't really know much about this lad. I need to kind of have a look look into him.
Yeah, I think he'll do well because I've got Ipswich to stay up. So
I've pretty much written them off. I think anything bar relegation would be a great achievement for them this year.
Surprise! It's McKenna, lad, overachiever.
This is where I've gone for Palace, but that's because I think West Ham, in my head, feel like they've got to be aiming for more.
Just because of the signings.
Yeah, and I think maybe, I don't know.
The club as well.
A bigger club. Is West Ham a bigger club? In my head, it's probably not too dissimilar. I think West Ham probably is a bigger club than Palace. But then again, from what we've seen from Palace at the back end of last season, is it an overachievement if they have a good season this year? If they play the way they did in the back end of that season, I can honestly see them pushing for Europe.
Yeah.
It's doable. They were fantastic.
Yeah.
But they've got to keep hold of some players. Gay might be going out the door, like we touched on earlier.
They were also really good even when Elise weren't there. So it can't just say like Elise's gone, they won't be as good, because I think they were good still.
Me and you discussed, last season they got Glasner in. He's been fantastic. He was already tempted offers from Bayern and places like that. They've got Mark Gahey, they've got Joachim Anderson, they've got Eze, they had Elise, Mateta, some more good players in the mix there as well, but they've only lost, Wharton as well, fantastic. They've only lost Elise. Am I right in saying that? Might lose Gay.
Yeah.
So to keep hold of that many players,
at least for another season,
should set them up for success this year. Depending how good that success is, I'm not sure. To me, if they have a top 10 finish and are pushing for them European positions, I think that's an overachievement.
Well, who I really like as well, ever since Glasner came in, he just came out of nowhere for me. Is that Munoz or something for at the right wing back position?
Oh yeah, I get confused because there's a striker for Fulham as well called Muniz, isn't there?
Yeah.
He had a strong
I think I'm saying it right. Munoz.
I know who you mean. I've seen him. I pulled him in on fantasy for the last 5 or 6 games or something last season. But
it's funny you say that. I've got him in this season.
Spoilers.
My overachiever is actually Ipswich. So
yeah,
if they're staying up, they're overachieving for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe you're right. I think success for me, from their point of view, will be to maintain Premier League football. But for them to overachieve, is that an overachieve? I don't really know.
Well, you've got them go down, so technically it's an overachievement for you.
I've got them to be rock bottom as well.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah, it probably is to be 3 or 4 places higher than that.
Yeah.
It's probably an overachievement, so that's fair enough, I suppose.
Who's your underachiever?
Chelsea. I mean, I feel like I've just done nothing but shit on Chelsea all video, but it's just an easy target for me. I will be very shocked, and it's not to say that my footballing opinion is great, but from what I've watched, from the mess that is that club, the signings are just all over the place. Maybe the manager is fantastic, who knows? But my gut feeling is these are going to stink the place out. So, in terms of a big club.
Yeah. With them obviously finishing so low last season, I don't feel like I could have put them as an underachiever, because it's just like...
But money spent, manager sacked.
Yeah.
Got to be an improvement. And I think it would be just as poor. That's kind of my reasoning for
fair enough, yeah. I've actually put Liverpool. But in my head...
5th, haven't you?
Yeah, but in my head, they're
horrible.
Not... It's weird that you say it like this, but in my head, they're not underachieving. But because I've seen so many people saying, oh, slot ball, look what he's doing, he's implemented this, he's going to challenge and all this stuff. And even I see obviously I'm not saying this is credible sources, but TalkSport and stuff, and everyone is saying well, who's going to challenge City? And it's obviously just like Arsenal and Liverpool, isn't it? And they're like, yeah. No.
To make the assumption that Liverpool are going to challenge?
They're not. Yeah. So that's underachieving.
My gut feeling is the same. I think, yes, you can look at the fact that Jurgen Klopp took over and had to sort of have a bit of an overhaul. That squad from when he took over to what it is now, it's fantastic. They actually have arguably world-class or close to world-class footballers at the club at the moment. So the manager isn't coming into a complete shit show. But I think I'm maybe giving Jurgen Klopp the credit, because I think he was a fantastic manager, that he got fantastic results and togetherness out of that squad, and I do think they're still lacking depth in some key areas. And with a new manager coming in, I can't see them having an improved season on last year.
I think Klopp overachieved with the squad.
Last year, I think so.
Yeah. Because he was challenging towards the end.
Yeah, they needed that defensive midfielder. They tried for one last year. They got Endo in, and I think for the value and the money that they brought him in for, I think it was a good signing.
Well, we did a video, and it was out of Arsenal, Liverpool and City in their last 10 fixtures, so we picked right up.
Well, we picked Liverpool to win the league.
Yeah, we predicted it, yeah. So
because I thought maybe that was the romanticism of Klopp announcing he was leaving, and it's like he's going to win it on his last attempt.
But I don't even think they had the squad to win the Premier League. So it was even crazy to me that we was even saying it.
But I think that was, that was the credit we were giving to Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah.
And maybe this manager can come in and the squad's good enough with the likes of Trent and Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah. And if they can get some of the other players firing, McAllister, fantastic last season. If they can get some of their other players firing, I think, they've not got the depth at left back. I think Robertson's past his best. Still think he's a decent player.
Yeah.
Great servant for the football club. I think that's a weak point, potentially. I think CDM is a big weak point, or just
massive
the middle of the park. Endo again, thought he was brilliant.
They have got
if they play McAllister there, he's wasted though, isn't he?
Well, really? they play a two, so they want to play out. And
I realistically think they would be better for having someone out and out there and letting him have a bit more license to play.
Yeah, well, they've been trying Gravenberch there, and I watched the last pre-season game when he was at Anfield, and Gravenberch did look like he was good, but you need that tackler in there.
Can you get Gakpo firing to the way that he looked like a different player for Netherlands than the player I've seen for the majority of his tenure at Liverpool?
I still think that the starting front three has to be to be fair, they've had Jota recently. I don't know where Nunes is. I think he's probably because he come back late. But you'd say when everyone's fit, they probably play Jota, Diaz and Salah, and Nunes comes on.
But I think this has got to be, surely this is probably the make or break season for him. I kind of already thought it could have been over, to be fair. I know the fans like him.
He didn't have a bad season last season.
No, but
he missed a lot of chances.
We tipped him last year as a bit of a one to watch, thinking he will iron out those misses, and he didn't really.
Yeah.
He had that one game where he was lethal and rescued that game at Newcastle, but for the most part, he was still quite wasteful and not clinical, and I still think he's a danger and he is utter chaos. But are we going to see him turn those chances into... Is his conversion rate going to improve?
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, is he the history? Is he the history? Is he the future? Can they rely on him for goals?
And it was a big fee, but we don't ever see it get mentioned. But
I think he's done enough to discredit the fact that it was a waste of money. But
there's no doubt he's a good player.
I think there's a level to be reached, and he hasn't quite done it yet.
Yeah.
We've seen glimpses of the quality, but it's not been repeatable so far for me. But it could be the year.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. That pretty much ties them all up, I think.
Yes.
Well, we've not been here for a while, and there's a lot of things to get through ahead of the season.
These first episodes are always massive anyway, aren't they? Because it's all predictions.
But hopefully you guys have enjoyed it.
Yeah, if this episode is... We said that obviously it's going to be new and it's different pods and everything, but this is obviously the same as last year because
you've got
to get the predictions out of the way.
You may as well. It's a big part of the season.
Yeah.
You want to get that done.
Once the games get flowing, the podcast is going to be different.
Yeah.
We have got one more thing to touch on today, and it is Super 6 and Fantasy. So we'll say it now that what me and Levi are doing, we've opened a league for both.
Yep.
Me and Levi are actually having a little head-to-head on Super 6, so we're all going to be in the same league. The league is open to the public. We're going to send all that out. I'll literally put the code on the screen.
Yeah.
And we'll send it all out over socials. So getting that, it's £100 classic football shirt voucher. I think, was that right? Was that what we...
Super 6? We've not done Super 6 before, have we? So
oh no,
be a new one.
Shall we do it?
We'll do a prize of some description.
What would they probably prefer? Would you say £100 cash or £100 classic football shirt?
Damn easy.
What do you think? Well, it's the same thing, isn't it? Let's do £100 cash for Super 6.
For Super 6.
And for Fantasy, it's £100 classic football shirt voucher.
Yeah, that was... Yeah, we did a football shirt of the choice last year, but it was a bit tentative, and it was like... We may as well make it something definitive. We can hand it over.
Yeah.
Send you the code. You can use it for what you want.
Okay, so cash Super 6 Fantasy voucher. Right, so yeah, we're competing in that, the Super 6, because we are going to be doing a forfeit at the end. So...
You're going to be doing a forfeit at the end.
Yeah. So this will... If you miss a week or if I miss a week, it's going to be...
I need someone to remind me. I need to set a ongoing reminder on my phone. Super Fantasy, I'm always on the ball. Super 6, I always remember.
To be fair, Super 6, I sometimes forget weeks. But if we're doing the podcast every week,
it's because it's them mid-weeks that crop up. Like Champions League and stuff, I just forget.
Yeah.
So I'll have to get myself to be a bit more on the ball with that.
Yeah, so we don't know what the forfeit is yet.
Maybe we'll ask for some suggestions.
Yeah.
And try and give us some...
There was a suggestion. I don't know how you think about this, but there was a suggestion that we do the pod in all football gear, didn't we? Like a full football kit.
Shin pads, the lot.
Shin pads, you have like Petchak's helmet on.
Captain's armband.
Yeah, even like Osman's mask and stuff. Yeah, we could
all
do
the way
that.
kitted out. And the other one of us just has to sit here like normal. That could be pretty good.
Yeah. And then we do Zooms and we're just looking like a complete idiot. Yeah, we could do that. That's one of the suggestions.
It'd be good for clips. Let us know what you think about that. Or if you've got any good suggestions, drop us a DM on Instagram and we'll take it on board. Maybe we might even put a poll out at some point if we get a few suggestions that we can narrow it down to.
Yeah.
The only caveat with the Super 6 and Fantasy is that you need to subscribe to the YouTube channel to be entered. And while we're at it, you should just do that anyway.
Yeah,
even if you're not entering the fantasy.
Obviously, when you win the league or whatever, we will obviously ask for proof that you do subscribe and all that.
Just get it done early doors, and we're going to be uploading great content there this year, not just the podcast. So you should be subbed anyway.
I will say as well for your listeners, I did put a post on Instagram, so it basically said at the end, I don't know if you read it or whatever, but it said at the end, followers and subscribers will get something in return. Well, possibly. Yeah. And I said, I'll leave that to the imagination. So it's still to your imagination because I'm not giving it away. But I'll just say that we're always looking to give back. So
we're going to be looking to reward you guys if you're followers of
the
channel and all our content.
I mean, you're going to have to watch the videos to even find out if you're a winner.
But if you need to keep tabs on us on all channels, all social media outlets, all your favourite ones, whatever you use, we're going to try and put content on all of them. So
it's funny you say that, actually, because I've had people come up to me and they go, what's going on? Like, I haven't seen a podcast in so long. And I went,
it felt a bit weird.
Well, we did put a story post on Instagram, so you need to be keeping up with our socials.
If you're not following us, then you wouldn't know.
Yeah, you need to keep up with them because that's where we're putting the news out.
But yeah, sorry for the downtime. We're glad to be back, but we needed to get everything sorted, and we are now sorted.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming back. If you've watched this on YouTube, thanks for watching on YouTube. If you've got all the way through a full-length podcast, comment below so that we know someone's watching for that length of time. But in the meantime, you can rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Subscribe on YouTube. You need to do that to enter all the leagues anyway. And if you want to donate to our Just Giving page from the Kick Out the Stigma event, you still can. However, we have raised £1,000 and we're very grateful for everyone that donated so far. But if you want to be part of it, you can be. Make sure to keep an eye out for the posts when we put the video on the Instagram. And that does it for me. Anything you want to add?
Nothing from me, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching, listening. We'll see you soon. Peace.